Hey everybody,
Hello,
happy
guys.
Thursday. So, Thursday live at lunch. My name is Tasha. This is Mind Your Money. And every week on Thursday, hopefully, prayerfully, I go live with different various personal finance, financial topics, mostly centered around budgeting, but we're also going to be talking about wealth building, investing. And this live today, I am collaborating with Ella from Hierarchy Finance Bureau, and we're going to be
Hello.
talking more along the mindset in investing, how to get started. And we want to hear your questions or read your questions. If you have comments or ideas on what you would like to talk about, please let us know. Don't be shy. Put it in the chat. And don't forget to like the video while it's live. You can still do that. It's free. It helps the channel. And if you have not been over to Ella's channel, I'm actually going to copy a recent video of hers that I was watching today. She has a really intricate system. She's definitely passionate about her journey. So go and check her out. Make sure you subscribe also, and share this live if you think it's going to benefit you, a family member, a friend, even if if the information is relevant to you or pertinent or helpful at all, let us know. Hey, Tara from Journey to Wisdom and Wealth, my friend. How are you?
Hi.
And if you're here for the first time, let me know where you're watching from and what are you having for lunch? I'm having nothing for lunch. I'm just drinking water because I'm fasting today. So, but if you're eating something good, share with me. I can live vicariously through you while you
Yeah,
share what you're
I'm on a
eating.
liquid fast as well, but I'm having some homemade coffee in my good old Starbucks cup right over here.
That's genius. So you can still feel the luxury without it pinching your pocket.
Hey, hey, hey. I invested one time into the cup, and then the homemade coffee is residual.
Mm-hmm.
Do that. Free refills.
All right. I'm seeing one person in the live so far, 2 minutes in. If you come in and you haven't already, please like, share, follow. We're talking about investing today. Is investing really an important part of budgeting? Should it be a part of budgeting? Um, and what are the prerequisites? I guess. What do you need before you can start to invest? Or what's the most important step that you need to take, if that makes sense, before, you know, tracking down investments, researching companies, making the move, you know?
I think that for starters, investing is the most important part of budgeting. I think it's the core of budgeting per se, because let's be clear, the journey, the financial journey in itself consists of generating capital, learning how to manage it, and then a final step, which is investing it. So again, the first step would be for you to, if we just want to rewind it back a little bit, is to travel through the educational system and generate as much information as possible from the education system. So then when you're able to go out into the financial market in the form of an employee, that is when you then start to unlock that capital through generating it as an employee on the job. But I guess the argument and extension is, can it be taught, or why hasn't it been taught in school? And again, from piggying back off the last live, that people is wrapping this personal term around finance, and I think that that's the reason why it can't be taught in school, because every individual per se is looking at it like it's a personal, private journey, when it's like, not really. Math is a general subject, therefore finance should be a general subject, because theoretically speaking, we as investors, we are investing in kind of sort of the same things over the entire duration of our financial journey, which is why real estate is the most expensive investment one will make over the duration of their own financial journey. That's literally the top investment that you can make outside of a business or investing in stock per se. So I believe that it is the core of budgeting because it's like the beginning introduction of it. Budgeting.
I like what you said that math, if math is a general subject, so should finance. And I know you have that little thing with the personal, but I guess because the numbers can change, right, for each person, your income, your revenue stream, all that is different per individual. But overall, finance should be a general subject. It should be something everyone has access to so they can learn and then plug in your numbers where it fits. Right? That's a good one. So I'm gonna scroll those little gems across the screen. Please like the video because I
Think
every
about
time
when you introduce to math and start learning about problem solving. Let's just say you in elementary school and you getting taught like if Amy had 3 apples and Tim got 2, then how many apples do Amy and Tim have collectively? Like we all pretty much was taught the basics of that kind of word or math problem, so to speak. And then as you got higher up in your grade, then they start teaching you how to look at it from a perspective of dealing with money. Like if Amy had a job and made $500 a week and she had to spend 300 on rent, how much money did Amy have left after paying rent? Like we all was taught this basic general information in regard to math. So then it will correlate the same when it come to finance. And I want people to leave down in the comment section below. If you disagree, agree, leave some comments down in relation to what I just said regarding that. What you think?
Yes, please. Because Tara said she believes that it should be taught in school. I feel like the different my kindergartner, he's 5 years old, he's in kindergarten and he's learning algebra and geometry, the shapes and how to make shapes and halves and all that, fractions even at this point. My teenager, who is a freshman in high school, is now learning the basic percentages of investing, APYs, things like that, things that I didn't learn in school. Mm-hmm. And I think now they're starting to introduce it as a general subject, except for the fact that he's in honors classes because he's brilliant. But they're this basic, I would call it basic because, I already know how to calculate the interest rate on a credit card if it's too high, or an interest rate on my savings account or my CD. But he's learning that in the 9th grade, but it's considered a senior course or an honors course, which kind of blows my mind if you think about it, because these are things you could learn earlier, but I didn't. So what do you guys think about that? What Ella said? Yes, one person says yes, they do believe it should be taught in school, but then the concept of finance not so much being personal so that it could be taught, but that it's something that you can start to, I don't know, you can start to use that to pushing that towards more investing, because investing, in my opinion, is that ownership part. And the biggest reason why I'm on the journey I am on is because I believe in ownership. And I believe every person, especially people of color, should own something. And when you are an investor, and Bami Trazer says this all the time, you can be a consumer and an owner at the same time when you invest. Right.
So I guess overall, then the perception of that would be temporary ownership versus temporary versus permanent ownership overall. I think budgeting is personal, but I think that the basics should be a class you should have to take, because the basics are universal. Well, that's why I go back to math, because when it's dealing with numbers, then that's what make it more general opposed to personal, because now, theoretically speaking, even if Journey to Wisdom and Wealth, let's say you got $60,000 annually, right? And I receive $50,000. you just literally, theoretically speaking, that you have $10,000 extra to further invest in regard to how you travel throughout your own financial journey. And the overall objective, nonetheless, is to secure the investments over the duration of that time that you feel is best suited for the life then that you desire to live. But that then doesn't negate the fact that we both are going to have real estate in our portfolio, if that make any sense. Just as we would have transportation or communication. So a lot of those investments are going to be alike throughout each one of our portfolios, no matter how much funding we then have to further secure these investments. Let's just say, due to the fact that I have 50,000, and let's say I want a vehicle. Well, I'll have to get a used vehicle priced around maybe $5,000 to $15,000. And then because you have that extra 10,000, you can afford transportation at a higher price point because you have that extra leverage of the $10,000. Nonetheless, we're both going to have transportation in our budget as an investment, if that make any sense. What you think, Tasha?
See, I'm scared.
What do you think that make it like personal versus general? If that's the overall discussion right now.
I feel like anyone who, I was 17 when I took out student loans.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what it was like really to work and to earn and have to take care of everything myself. You have to take care of your housing costs. You have to take care of your personal costs. You got to buy a car. How do you manage a car? How do you paying for insurance and all the things that are you're legally required to do or to pay just to maintain those assets. Nobody taught me that. But the first thing I got was an application for financial aid, and that put me on the hook for tens of thousands of dollars with no real understanding of how to just manage a simple budget, because that wasn't taught, that wasn't instructed, not at home or in school. So I think those basics, a lot of us in this community find it easy. It's simple. It's like, this is kind of common sense. This is just basic to us. But there are thousands of people out there who have no idea how to even set up a budget. They don't know anything about credit cards and APYs and APRs and owning a vehicle and what the cost is to maintain it.
Right.
So those things should be on the basic general list. Same with English or language arts or whatever you have. It should be taught in the same capacity, because once a child leaves high school, even though legally they're considered an adult, there's a lot they won't know, and you kind of just get thrown out there into a world full of vultures who want to either take your money or make you homeless because they're taking out loans that they don't know how they're going to pay back, or they're getting credit card debt. So I think those basics definitely need to be taught. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, theoretically,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of comments come in. Forgive me, because I can talk and I'll start talking and I'll go off on tangents, which is why I try to take a break every couple minutes just to stay on course, because I will go off on tangents. So I'm trying not to do that. D had a good comment, I think. She wrote, absolutely, basics need to be covered to include income and expenses. I don't support pushing narratives, though. The older I get, the less interested I am in home ownership. That's interesting. She also said, investing, yes, but property investment, hard pass. I don't have a family I'd leave behind to continue to appreciate the fruits of my labor. So I'm legit worried about self-living till my last day. I want to hug my friend.
See, I guess that's the friction that I'm seeing in extension to learning this overall, is that again, going back to the budget and how it correlate with investing, theoretically speaking, due to the fact that we hold a piece of real estate in our investment portfolio or budget, so to speak, then you literally either temporarily in it on a short term, or it's going to be a permanent investment because you then own the property. Nonetheless, it's still being invested in, if that make any sense. Because you renting, you leasing, you're financing, or you purchasing. That's the only way that you can invest in this sort of real estate.
And I'm going to scroll down to a comment I just read from D, where she said it's not a necessity. Purchasing a vehicle or purchasing a home, even financing a home, is not a necessity to life. And I guess it does matter your circumstance or the context in how you live your life and where you are right now. For me, again, personal, the budget itself is personal to the person, to the individual. For me, being in a family, I do have children, and I'm praying and believing that I will have grandchildren and will continue on. I believe that ownership, even if it's a car that depreciates in value, ownership is important. And I think it's important to teach. Like, one of the things that Ella said the week before when we went live was that the most important thing to pass down is knowledge. Because I shared 2 weeks ago that my grandparents on my mother's side, they own their home, but when they passed away, even though they owned it outright, there was no mortgage or anything, it still got sold to someone else, so it was no longer in the family. To me, that was a necessity, because then you have something that you can pass down, right? So that it's easier for the generations coming after you. But if you're someone who either is not projecting to have children or don't have children at this time, it's going to be a little different. But while you're living this life, while you're here in the present, isn't there something that you would want to say, this is mine? And maybe you don't leave it to children, maybe you leave it to a charity, maybe you cash flow it for something else that you truly believe in. Like, there has to be something more than just, I don't have family, so, or I don't have children, or I don't have like a seed or, a generation coming through me to give it. Maybe there's something else, maybe someone else's child, or maybe donating to a charity or a company, something like that. Isn't there something that you would think, okay, I want to pass this on, even if it's not through your bloodline, if that makes sense? I hope that's not too deep, and I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes.
I'm looking at this statement as well about purchasing a vehicle. It's not a necessity to life, neither is home ownership. I don't believe that theoretically it has anything to do per se about it being a necessity, because the overall objective with dealing with numbers and extensions of time and money is to learn how to wisely invest it, if that make any sense. So with that being said, whether again is temporarily investing in it and having partial ownership of the thing, or full permanent ownership of the thing, you are still an investor of these things, or you have been at some point along your financial journey. Would you agree or disagree? What would you say, Tasha?
I think my thought pattern is, even if you don't own it outright, there's something that you're in control of or that you have to manage at some point. So investing, one, can increase your revenue, and it gives you room for, how do I want to say this? It's a sense of it's responsibility, whether you own something or you're renting something or you're leasing something. There's still a responsibility to make sure you have the basic understanding, and then of course you can grow into an understanding of how to do this thing that leads you to a stronger financial life or future. Yeah, I don't disagree with it not being a necessity to certain people, but I do agree that it's important to have the understanding while you're here so you can manage something, because you never know who's watching you too. Like, even if it's not your family, you never know who else can benefit from seeing you show them this is how this works, so you can maintain what you have whether you own it or not. And you make your life, you live it in a way where you're being responsible, you have the knowledge and the understanding, so that other people, maybe that person that's watching you doesn't want to own their home, but they're renting a place or they're living somewhere, they still need to know how to live and maintain. How are you going to get around? Are you going to take are you going to take taxi? Are you going to take a limousine? Or are you going, what are
Right.
you going
You're
to do?
not
Because you still
investing
need
in
to
a
live.
form of transportation unless you're gonna walk everywhere. I mean, that's the only other way to transport. So what I want to ask next is, what do you believe the purpose of money is in general? Because my perception of the purpose of it is to invest it, to learn how to properly invest it. What do you think, Tasha?
That's an important thing for me. I want to learn more, and because you're always growing. I think that's vital to any journey, especially if you're going towards freedom, financial freedom. There's got to be a way other than
Believe that
saving,
the
because you
purpose
can't.
of money is to invest.
The purpose of money itself
Yeah,
is to, um, I mean, generally to buy and, goods and
that's
services, but to
investing. We
live.
buy,
But
sell, and we trade. That's the mechanisms of investing: buy, sell,
mhm,
trade. And that's all we do on the market daily, weekly, whatever the time span of it. That's literally what we doing with money: buying, selling, or trading.
mhm. I
If
have some
anybody,
questions coming up.
yeah, you see
Trying
some
to,
questions.
yeah, let me just, okay. This is a personal one. This is about tithing. Ella, what is your views on tithing, if you feel comfortable answering?
Okay, so my views on tithing. So I believe that tithing is something more private and personal, opposed on a business side, being in the form of contributions, charities, or donations, which is why you need to understand both sides of them. I feel like when it comes to monetary tithing, it depends on how much the annual net is for me personally to invest monetarily in that form on that personal private sector, because I also believe that one can tithe in a form of wisdom. I feel like the wisdom that I have to offer is more valuable than any monetary amount that I could possibly give to anyone at this stage and journey of my life. So that's what I feel on it.
Tara also asked about um, your home investments. Do you have home investments? I'm not sure.
So again, so as I stated previously, theoretically speaking, I am a temporary investor in the form of renting through real estate. So I am temporarily invested in a one bedroom rental, right? So that's a short term investment. No, I don't own any outright, but I am still nonetheless investing in a form of real estate in the form of a rental. If that make any sense. Did that make any sense?
It makes sense to me, because that rent payment is due every month. You're
Exactly.
temporarily investing. It makes sense to
That's the
me.
whole point. Like this here, this prop money. Okay, so let's just say I'm going to use the example in regard to the standard deduction for 2023, right? Let's go filing single. So it says here that the filing status, filing single is $13,850, right? So then I would then, theoretically speaking, I would use that as a guide to navigate me over the duration of the entirety of 2023, plug those numbers inside of a budget and stay within that budget so that I can hit the annual target of that $13,850. And what I then have to do with this capital, right, is to invest it over the duration of the entire calendar year in regard to those top priority investments, which would be real estate, right? Utilities, transportation, if any, right? Communication, all of the components that come with each one of these investments, right? To further manage and operate, if that make any sense.
So, what is your definition of investing money? You probably already
So
answered that.
again, so the purpose of money is to invest. So over the entire duration of your financial journey, you're literally, it doesn't matter if I get this here cell phone. So let's say I got 2 iPhones or whatnot. I invested in 2 forms of communication through the form of this iPhone. So, and let's be clear, investing don't always have to have a ROI in regard to a monetary gain. I still am using these in regard to, let's say, even if I was recording this YouTube video on it, right? I'm still getting a return on my investment, if that make any sense. I'm still able to utilize it in such a way to where the exchange of this investment it balances itself out. Or I would not have ever invested in these phones, if that make any sense. I had to see the purpose to exchange, to do the trade. What you think?
I agree with you. It's kind of like a lot to unpack there because it's not just money. It's not just a return on your investment, like monetary return,
Right.
but you being able to, I'm investing in this software. So this is, I'm using this machine so I can stream live out to whoever, and the return on my investment would be more viewers, more people knowing what we're talking about, more
It's
people
gonna
getting knowledge,
ladder down the
understanding.
line,
You
unlock
know,
an additional
I
stream
get
of
it.
revenue possibly. And if we're looking at it from the business side of things, these can be depreciated over time because now, theoretically speaking, I'm invested in tech, right? So let's say now I hold on to this piece of tech for, let's just say, the next 5 years. So then I'll take the total net of the value of this investment and divide it into 5 years or until I invest into the next upgrade of this phone, if that make any sense. So let's say also I had 2 iPhone 8 Pluses, right? I held on. So let's say I bought and held on to that investment for 4 years. And then my communication company sent me a text and said I get to upgrade. So because I bought and held on it for so long, it was an even exchange, so to speak, with a hangover of approximately $10 per device, which was divided into, I believe, approximately 2 or 3 years. So theoretically speaking, the phones was free except for I had to pay the tax on the phone, if that make any sense, because we have to pay taxes, right? So I had to pay the taxes on the actual device. And in extension to the trade-in, the device now only cost me 28 cents per device plus the actual service, right? Because I still need to utilize the phone.
Investment, investment financially has to have, well, yeah. Once you invest in anything, there has to be some kind of return. It's not, you
The
don't want to
return,
invest
that's what I said. So when
poorly.
it comes to stuff like that, it depends on how you investing in the market. So if you invest in money to then, let's say, like I said, get this device, then that's the exchange. You got the device. You felt like the money that you exchange for this device is more valuable to you than the actual money that you just had in your possession. So you exchanged it. Because other than that, you'll be on the other side of the scale. You'll be the one selling the device and getting the monetary return, if that makes sense. That's why it's important to learn it from the business side of things. Because when you're looking at it from the personal side, then you're going to always feel like you didn't get a return on your investment because you think it's supposed to be monetary. Not if you're not operating as a business.
I told you before we started, I was watching some of your older videos that I had missed, right?
Right.
And if you have not, if you go to Ellis, if you go to Hierarchy Finance Bureau, I'm telling you, her system is very intricate. Okay, it's very intricate. It took me a couple times to watch through some of the videos to understand how she breaks it down. And I personally believe if you have income of any sort, for no matter where it comes from, if you have any type of revenue from your business, from your regular a W-2 employee, W-4 employee, whatever, it should be ran like a business, whether you're a single individual, you're a married individual, because this is not just 1 + 1 = 2. Because if you're trying to multiply your income, this is where I believe in multiple streams of income, no matter how big or small, side hustle, whatever you call it. Please make sure that you're running it like a business. You're very serious about what comes in, what's going out, how much discretionary income do I have? Like, all of these things are important, and it should be taken that seriously. Not that is everything and your whole life should just pass you by. But when you start getting into managing and budgeting, you should do it, run it like it's a business. And I'm telling you, if you take time, like when you have free time to watch Ella's channel, you'll see how detailed and how, I don't want to say complicated, but it's kind of like intricate is the best word. I think I know how to explain it, because I enjoyed it, but I realized you have to be that serious and that focused if you're on the journey where it's like, I do not want to leave behind family and leave them broke, or I don't want to live my life right now where I'm just going from paycheck to Monday or paycheck to paycheck and have nothing substantial to show for it, if that makes sense. I don't want to work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week for me or someone else and not have something to show for it, because I'm investing my time for an income, no matter how I make that income. But I don't want to do it at the expense of my life, where like it just passes me by and I don't have any joy, I don't have freedom, I don't have anything. You can invest in the iPhone or the MacBook or the fancy vehicle, whatever, the Tesla, the Lamborghini, whatever. You can invest in the condo, the co-op, the fancy vacation, going to every continent, going to every country. You could do that. But, you know, manage your finances like it is a business. It's that serious. At least that's one of the things I'm getting from you, having conversations with you and listening to you.
Yeah, because once you do that, you're literally going to see what's in the red and what's in the green. And then an extension to that, you're then able to make more investments to where now your money is working for you in regard to actually then seeing a return on that investment, which is monetary, if that make any sense. What do you say? Exchange and investment are two different things. Yeah, they are, but they still up under the same umbrella. Again, the purpose of money is to invest. And so whether you're investing in a form of buying, selling, trading, exchanging, it's still up under the same umbrella.
And I was hoping that this conversation would be one that would just encourage people to focus on what matters the most on your journey, but at least get some more understanding about the investment part. And I think Ella hit something really good when she said investing is not just about the money part. It's about, you know, what you invest in physically. You invest your time, you invest in physical products, you invest in assets. It's still an investment. It's just there's a different category that or subcategory.
Right. Unconsciously, that's what we do our whole lives. Like I said, that's just like me buying this Nike hat. Like, it was an investment. Like, just because I didn't get money on it don't mean it wasn't an investment. It's a part then of my makeup in regard to my wardrobe now and how I present myself, if that make any sense. I'm investing in my look. A lot of unlearning and relearning. Yeah, you got to do a lot of that throughout your whole life.
And oh gosh, I feel like we could be here all day.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad D is here. I have to say, D, I saw a couple comments from you on some other creators. I guess you were in and out, but I've never met D face to face, but like she sent me a gift once and I felt just so special. And I just appreciate the fact that you're engaging in the way you are, because not everyone thinks the exact same way. I don't think everyone should think the exact same way, because then you can't learn anything. And it's really boring. We don't want a vanilla type of experience. We want something that actually causes us to think a little bit differently. And I think this is a great way to do that. When we talk about money and budgeting, all those things, finances, gets people's blood boiling a little bit. But I think the important part of, this second part of this conversation, talking about investing, it's like, if you're including that in your budget. I like to write down my budget. I do a written budget every single week. Why? Because for me, it's like my brain, I have to see it, but I have to physically do something in order for it to, like, oh, this is what I'm doing with this money, this
Right.
is where this is coming from, oh, this is what I need to remember to do. I set goals on paper. I mean, I use like spreadsheets and stuff, but for the most part, I always have a notebook and I
Mhm.
have to write things down, because that's just how I connect to it,
Right.
right? Everybody does it differently. Some people can't do that at all. Some people use their phone and they use a literal app, because I have too much to do and I just want an app, plug in my numbers, connected to my bank account, and I'm gone. Other people are very intricate, where you have, like, again, Ella's system. But what I'm trying to say is, everyone might use a different apparatus, you might use a different system, but the basics here is, how do you what are you investing in? Are you doing it? If not, why? And maybe you can rethink that strategy, because we talked a little bit about not having children or having an heir to leave something to, or passing on a legacy. But this is for, like, right now, because right now you are investing in something. Are you making it a habit to do it consistently? That's one thing that I think. Are you doing it consistently? Because if you just say, oh, I'm going to do this maybe for a month, and then you fall off, then you put yourself at risk for not having the things that you truly need. Like, you have to be consistently putting pen to paper, or typing in your numbers, highlighting, doing your reconciliation, because if not, where you want to be. Maybe you're not leaving a legacy, but maybe you're just trying to say, I need to make sure I can pay my rent every month for the next year or 2 years, or until I move, or I need to maintain a vehicle or way to get to and from work. You're
Right.
investing time into your budget. You're
Mhm.
investing your money in places that is going to benefit you, whether that's in the market, whether that's your furniture, your car, your AirPods, I don't know.
Can I
Something
ask
to,
a question?
yeah.
So, do you believe the purpose of one traveling throughout their financial journey is to become financially free?
I think for the budgeting journey,
Just it's all interconnected. So, just traveling along it in general, working, generating money, managing it through the budget, and the final step, investing. Do you think the whole purpose of that journey is to become financially free one day?
for me, definitely, for
Because
sure.
we have to look at the other end of the scale of that and say that the objective then would be to be in a mountain of debt and operate in the red until you perish. So the median ground then would be to learn how to either get it right or to continue to know that you in a mountain of debt and a stay there because you feel like you don't understand how to get out, or you're literally going to learn how to get out. That's where the math come back in at. It's about the numbers.
Hmm.
Just because you get a certain amount of money and then you feel like, oh, Murphy's law popped up, So now you're gonna collapse the budget because something happened? No, you need to rearrange something that is not considered a top priority and get the thing that popped up secured and then figure out how to work the other thing back in. And I feel like sometimes individuals feel like a holiday may be more important than paying their rent. Like, no, you know
That goes back
you
to
know that that's
responsibility.
wrong, and then you're doing it anyways. Like that kind of stuff is just like saying, you know, it's a math exam coming up. You know you needed to study. You didn't study. You came in late. You failed, and then you blaming the teacher. Like, no, no. You got to take some accountability somewhere. Like, that's why I believe in extension from the last live we did that it has something to do with poverty trauma. Sometimes an individual feel like they didn't celebrate Christmas. They want their kids to celebrate it, and they don't care what kind of debt they got to get into. As long as a family can celebrate Christmas, they'll risk everything just to make sure that they celebrate the holiday. That's not right. And a person know that it's not right, but in their brain, because of this trauma been occurring their whole life, they risk all of these other investments in that budget portfolio just to celebrate a holiday, to get a return in regard to a memory. And that's why I say it's not always about a monetary return. Some people invest for experiences.
I think what you're saying in nutshell is responsibility. It boils down to responsibility. And of
And you
course,
can't
the
blame any
responsibility to
education
making sure you
system
deal
in
with
the
your soul
world.
issues, your heart
Yeah,
issues,
you
because
can't blame any education system in the world for not then teaching that when they definitely taught you how to generate sums that are in a negative, just like they did about them being in a positive. And you are then either unconsciously choosing to keep operating in negative sums, or you literally going to become conscious and start operating in positive sums. And that's just simple as that. I mean, let's be clear. Sometimes we as adults don't want to be scolded as children, but then act like children, then blame other adults in extension to how you was taught in your home and in the education system as to why you can't get it right. It's either the system at this point or it's you. And that's just simple as that. What you think?
every good story has a conflict. Every good story has a conflict because it's what going back to what you said and to piggyback off of Christmas. If
Mhm.
a child who grew up and now is a full grown adult has never had a happy Christmas, and maybe now they're projecting that onto their children, well, I want you to have the biggest and the best and the brightest of everything. But it's not from a place of responsibility, it's from a place of there's a conflict there. You want to do something beautiful and create memories, invest your money and your time to create a beautiful memory for your children, for your family, but it's coming from a place where there's a void, and we each individual person has to take stock of what's going on with us. So you have to do some introspection and say, okay, what's going on with my mindset right now, so before I go and spend this money, because the money itself doesn't correct automatically what happened 20, 30 years ago. It's our mindset and how we use it that's either going to be healthy or unhealthy, or responsible or irresponsible. And we all go through that process, right? We've all had some form of trauma or pain, in our lives. But as we get older, even if no one ever taught us, at
Mhm.
some point we have to take responsibility for what's going on. If there's a void somewhere, if there's a hurt, if there's a pain, we've got to start doing introspection so that we can actually manage our money right, invest right, live our lives right, because we don't want to carry that trauma to another generation. Because maybe your children don't want to have a fancy Christmas. Maybe that's not what they're looking for. Maybe they just want something simple like a nice dinner and watch a movie. I don't know, something like that. So we have to be careful not to put allow those voids to cause trauma for the people coming after us, if that makes sense. I don't feel like everybody deals with it the right way. We've all dealt with things in the wrong way, but at some point we're going to have to take introspection and say, hey, look, this was a problem. I need to fix it because I don't want this going on anymore.
Exactly. So what, theoretically speaking, would you rather sit your child down and say, unfortunately, we can't have an extravagant Christmas this year, or sit them down and tell them how you finna lose your place this year? Like, it as they guardian, a child really don't need much but your presence, your time. Like, it ain't never about the money. But unfortunately, individuals train their brains to believe that that's all that it's about. Yes, you need money to survive throughout your financial journey, because without it, you literally gonna be homeless, starving, whatever the case may be. All of those things is just gonna collapse around you, and you gonna have to try and figure out how to put yourself back on the board. Nonetheless, when it comes to children, especially, like, all they care about is time spent. You can go to the dollar store and buy a coloring book and some crayons. Like, but I believe in extension, subliminally, social media got a lot to do with that too. So you got kids in elementary school wanting iPhones. Like, my niece, 11 years old, and stay with the latest tech. But she was born into middle class, so she able to get exposed to those things. But some kids are not. And then I feel like, in extension to that, the parent then feel like, I don't want to raise my kid up with this trauma, so I'd rather go into debt to make sure that they don't have to experience what I went through, opposed to, giving them, like, finding a gray area to still have them exposed to some form of woe. Because every kid, no matter what stage that you're born into, you still exposed to some form of wealth. Even if you're getting brought home from the hospital, you're not being brought to the streets. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, that's a form of wealth in itself, securing a form of shelter.
It could do more harm than good if we just try to throw money at the situation. Because it's not just about the money, it's how we use it as a tool. I feel like I tell my children all the time, it's more about understanding how to use it than to just spending it on everything, because social media does play a part. I have a teenager, so he has more access to this, the internet world than my two younger children do. They don't have cell phones. They're not on we monitor these things closely, but it's a real thing. I think I talked about it in the last live when I was like, my son, he every time there's a new pair of Jordans, that's the one he wants. And I tried to explain to him, it's important to be an owner and a consumer, but don't consume more than you make or you earn or you're gifted, because if you do that, you'll be in a deficit. You'll have nothing to show for it but some old J's that maybe you could sell them, or maybe you make a shrine out of them. That's kind of stupid. I explained that to him that way because I feel like if you just want to buy to look good on the outside, but you have nothing of real, like, intricate value, nothing that says, okay, I'm not just my sneakers. I know it's like it's a society thing. If you look this way, if you wear this certain clothes, if you wear the new Yeezy, if you got the new J's, if you're wearing this, you look good. You present yourself as if you're wealthy, you're stylish, but in reality, if you spent everything you had on that, then you really have nothing else. Because once it gets scuffed or dirty, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You may be able to sell it for a fraction of what you bought it for, but then what are you gonna do? Like, I want my children personally, I'm talking about me. I know everybody has their own thoughts, and you can share your thoughts because this is a safe space. But for me, I want my children to know that ownership is important. Why is it important? Because I know what it's like to be homeless or almost homeless. To somebody who doesn't have a place to live, I would rather rent than own, but have something to show for your hard work, have something to show for all the studying you're doing, all the research you're doing on investing and wherever you do it, real estate, stock market, whatever you're doing, have something to show for it. Don't just
That's exactly why.
go with your wardrobe.
Yeah, that's exactly why real estate, stocks, and business at the top tier of investing. Because you either gonna secure it on a personal level or on a business level. Because like you just said, like even if I went to work, let's say I made $100,000, I better have some form of real estate in my portfolio, or it's not gonna make no sense. How I'm generating all this money and I don't even have some form of real estate on a private sector. I should at least own a home or in a position to one day later than becoming a home owner of some sort. Because if I'm not securing a real estate, then I need to be staked in a business or I need to own stock investment. I need to be invested in one of those three things for sure, making such a high revenue annually, if that make any sense. Would you
It
agree or
does.
disagree?
I agree with that.
Because if not, then theoretically speaking, if I had children, then I would just pass the wealth to them to give them a head start financially. That's the only other thing that I can do with this capital. Because other than that, then going back to tithing or contributions and charities and donations, I'll then split it up and do it that way. Give half to tithe and then the other half towards contributions, donations, or charities. That's the only thing then that I would do with this capital, unless I'm gonna just keep it to myself and perish with it. Like that's again
You
the
can't take it
purpose
with you.
of money. Exactly. Again, that's why that's the purpose of money. You have to learn how to invest it. That is what your overall objective is when generating this capital. How are you going to invest it?
I'm trying to type that into the banner because that was good. And that's something I got from last week that I wrote down because it's a good question. It might be a triggering question for some people, but what is your overall objective?
I just
My
told my
overall
mother,
objective may be different from yours, but the only way to get there is by investing in the right vehicles, in the right things, right?
exactly,
In the
which is
nutshell.
the core. So it don't matter if we agree to disagree. We both in this thing in regard to learning how to invest, regardless of the fact. That's the only thing you can do with money. Invest it. I just was telling my mother earlier, I'm like, even extension to if I was to become married, like I'm not joining no accounts or nothing. Like we can
Mhm.
have financial conversations or whatnot, but no, they ain't never gonna sign a prenup because I need to secure my wealth. And if we not building a wealth together, and theoretically speaking, if I come in with the wealth, I'm not I can't detect what your overall objective is. So let's just say then a return on the investment, which is why spouses get alimony, is because they invest time in that marriage, and then whatever the net is, they get a percentage off of that. The return on the investment was time, so now they get alimony for a duration of time until the judge, say that's enough. 10 years alimony, that's enough. You got to figure it out.
That's why I hear a lot of people in the personal well, not a lot, but a few people in the personal finance space. One of them, Debt Free Dad. So if you haven't followed Debt Free Dad, please go and follow Debt Free Dad. I think he had maybe two interviews with either the same person or different people talking about that very thing, a prenuptial agreement, which has nothing to do with the love of your marriage, the security of your partnership, anything like that. It's basically like if anything happens, if somebody gets sick and dies or whatever, there's a divorce or a separation, you're basically setting up ahead of time what's going to happen with your assets. It's a legal procedure that most wealthy people, from what I've heard and what I've learned, they do that.
Right.
So it's just like, because if you don't have a prenuptial agreement, if you don't have something in writing ahead of time that states how you want to divide assets or whatever, then a judge is going to do it for you. So if you brought children into the marriage, they might suffer because a judge is impartial. They're not going to think, well, you spent 20 years slaving over the stove and the house was always clean and you brought this amount of money in and you brought, they're just going to divide it in half. I don't know, but it's going to be unfair. So I think a prenuptial agreement is a good idea. What do you think?
Yeah. And then I don't know if you heard about what just happened with Mary J. Blige, even like. But and then I say this to say, in extension to the unfortunate thing that's happening to her, I think she got to pay $30,000 a month.
What?
And I think he cheated on her and he had a baby.
What?
But nonetheless, saying that to say that's where it go back to those top three investments: the real estate, the business, or actually investing in stocks. I believe that then if she either had the information or he had it, that then alimony should be thrown out. Because if I'm gonna give you 30,000, that's gonna be a one time, and I'm gonna teach you how to flip it because you're not gonna keep getting 30 out of me. Not every month.
That's crazy.
No, that's not happening. So
Wow.
I feel like in extension to that, the only reason why is a burden on her in extension, because if she knew how to properly invest, then at 30K, it wouldn't matter to either party because they have the information to learn how to place that 30K in an investment that's gonna 2+X in a matter of a week, a month, a year, instead of her paying. She literally, I believe she had to come out of her retirement to keep paying her alimony. And I'm
That kind of
like,
stuff makes me angry. No, that's crazy.
so that's why I said, like, even if I was to get married, like, just being fair, looking at both sides of the spectrum, female or male. I'm like, okay, so let's say I had the wealth and I made my husband sign a prenuptial agreement. Because who I am, nonetheless, and I understand an extension to even if I had a child, like, even if I don't want to be with you, I give you a little head start on the board. I pay off your house, buy you a car or two, give you a little 100,000 or $1 million, then go buy. Like, we done. Like, that's it. But I give you a head start. But you're not gonna keep getting money out of me. I'm gonna secure the top investments for you, so you don't have to worry about those things for the rest of your life, and then the rest on you. I don't care if you gotta go get a job again. That's your problem. That's not my responsibility. My responsibility, which what I said earlier, my information that I can give somebody is more valuable than any monetary amount. Like, I can teach you how to do more with money than actually giving you money and just letting you go about your business knowing you're going to come back to me asking for more. With the teach a man to fish scenario, like, I'd rather teach you than to give you the fish, because I don't want you getting on my nerve, keep coming to me talking about you have any more fish. No, you better fast. Figure out how to drink some water, like, right? You better fast. You got a luxurious tongue over there. I can't keep feeding you.
That's a lot. I said it before. My teenager has expensive taste, like very expensive taste, but without any real life experience yet, because he's still young, and I'm new at this. I've never had a teenager before now. So while he's growing and learning, I'm learning too. But we're not going to do this thing where I'm going to spend $100, $200 for like one item so you can wear it and then be like, I need something new next week. We're not going to do this. Why? Because you're not earning yet. You're not earning yet. When you start to earn and you learn how money works, then you can make the decision. Is this a good investment? Is this a good purchase? Should I do this or should I wait?
See, this is why social media be considered a good time investment and extension to those purchases that you make, which is what I want to overall get into down the line with my channel. It's about showing an individual how you then invest in the market, if that make any sense. So now let's say you take your son to go buy a pair of Jordans and you document that, knowing that you in the financial space. You know what I mean? Like, now in extension to that, you subliminally advertising and marketing Jordan, which you then should be getting royalties on. But because don't nobody have a referral code per se for you when you purchasing these shoes, you're not gonna get the money. But whoever watch your video, go buy some Jordans. You know what I mean? You just subliminally advertise and market Jordan, if that make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not gonna get paid for it. Which is why, if you really look at reality shows and stuff like that, they started blanking out, like putting, tape over the brands or whatever, because it's a business move. They like, I ain't finna get paid for advertising marketing, even though I already invested in it, so I'm gonna just tape it up, so you won't get no money neither.
I think,
So,
gosh, gosh.
so
Sometimes
when
I
they
have to think about
like,
what I'm going to say before I
if
say
your
it.
son got an Instagram or something like that and it's related to fashion, then it's like that's a good investment, because now he learning how to build up a social media audience so he can later one day get a return off those investments that you're making for him right now.
I'm trying to teach a few other things other than that, but we could talk
Yeah.
about that maybe another time, because it's a lot. It's a lot of breaking down things, make them simple so he can understand. So hopefully, when my other two get older, I already know what to do. Um, you know what's important? Somebody said something. I'm going to jump back to Dee's comment real quick if I can find it, about social, I don't know how to say that, society, the normal society rules or society definitions. No, it wasn't that one. It was something else. She said something about children. I can't find it, but this was it. This, maybe it was this. I don't know. I thought there was something else she said. Oh, and you can bring your kid up right, but if they are in school surrounded by unlike-minded students, it can be difficult. I've said this to my son's father years ago. He's not my husband. He was, but he's not. So this is my oldest son's father. I said to him before, I said, we are not his only influence. Even though he's going to see us the most, we're going to pour into him as much as we can, hopefully good things, things that help him grow. Other people on the outside, they're going to say things to him and he's going to say, oh, well, my mom never said that, or my dad never said, and we're not his only influence. So unfortunately, we try to be the loudest voice in, whether it's niece, nephew, child, or somebody you just know that you mentor. We can try to be the loudest voice in their head, but there are other things, voices that are going to be competing. So somebody else down the road, another parent, a friend of my son's, their parents just give this boy whatever he wants. Like, he pretty much does whatever he wants, and he's 14 years old.
Right.
So I'm like, you can't give a 14-year-old anything and everything. But for my son seeing that, it's like, well, why does he get that and I don't get this? It's a competition. So my stance as personal as a mother is like, we pour in as much as we can and make it evident. This is what you have to do. I have to kind of stay on. I don't like micromanaging, but with my children, I'm on top of everything. How much did you make this week? How much did you get? Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give, save, spend. We're going to invest here. And that's what we're going to do until it becomes a habit. So like, when he does start working a regular job, he sees FICA coming out and Social Security and all those things from his check, then he's like, okay, this is what I have to do first. This is what I do second. This is what I do third. That's my process. And I'm not saying it's the best process, but right now it seems to be working. We're getting somewhere. But yeah, we are not our children's only influence. Other people, social media, unfortunately, is there. And if he doesn't have his phone, a friend has a phone. He said, did you see this new TikTok trend? Did you see what happened on Snapchat? Oh, Snap, were you on Discord? Did you see this?
Oh my God, don't get me started. My niece just was over here the other day. I think she seeing on TikTok something about eating butter and jelly. Like, girl, that is not nothing that's nutritional. Like, is you crazy or something? Like, you can't eat butter. Like, no.
That's crazy. The last thing I saw was those Tide Pods or those little laundry pods that they were ingesting them or something. Were they inhaling it or something? I don't understand it. It's just, are they bored? Are they that bored where you have to get on these stupid little trends?
Yep.
Um, and we've been here almost over an hour, and
Really?
I'm having
Hey,
so much fun talking to you. I
I
hope you're
know, right?
um
I was so saddened when I heard that though about Mary J. Blige. I was like, and
that's
then when they said that
terrible.
too about Dr. Dre and his wife, and it's like, to
He's
me, it don't
his
have nothing to do with
business.
the gender per se. It is about a person. See, what people don't understand is an extension to what happened behind closed doors. Even if this person is helping you with the whole mental concept of getting this business concept written out on paper, like, they deserve compensation for those inputs. Like, you can't just sit there and say, you didn't help me get the money. I didn't have to get out there and physically help you make the money. I help you come up with a business plan. So where my cut at? Like, no. That's why they had to just theoretically come up with this overall as to how to give somebody alimony, because they don't know what happened behind closed doors, but they know that this person nonetheless invested time with you and you exposed them to a certain lifestyle and they deserve a percentage of that, like, regardless. And so I believe that, like I said, it's fair. But then when it comes to the overall of, again, with the give a man a fish versus teaching them, like, I rather give you information and a lump sum of money than to just keep giving you a trail of lump sum pieces of, or let's just say money in general, for you to not understand truly how to invest it anyway. And so then what if something happened to me? Then you look crazy anyway. No more alimony because I ain't alive. So that's what you get. So it ain't got nothing to do with me hiding assets at
Ooh.
this point. Now, if something happens to me
Oh,
because you getting on my nerve thinking you finna get money from me for the rest of your life, then that's crazy. Because to me, I look at it like, if I'm around a wealthy person, I don't want your money. I want to pick your brain. So shit, let me get out a notepad. Let me start taking some notes. Like, I don't care about your money. That's irrelevant because it's your money. And unless you break it down detail by detail how I can get the money that you got, it don't matter to me. I'm more interested in me picking your brain down to the last bit of it and be like, let me get all that information you got. I need that. That's why I said, like I said, that's the most important thing you pass down.
exactly.
And I feel like I told my parents the other day, I'm like, it's like a blessing and a curse to teach your kid how to critically think for themselves, because it just like, it just dawned on me the other day that I'm like, this is why, and it's funny. This is why we pretty much grew up slapping each other like we was on Street Fighter or something. Because everybody, everybody, everybody thinking they self, and they like, no, this way, and they like, no, this way, and it's like, no, I said this way. I don't care what you said. So it's just like, so not everybody literally got their own perception as to what they want to do in life, and then they also beta testing on you as a sibling to get you to see their perspective so you can join forces with them. Like, no, I see it a whole nother way. So
My boys are like that. I want them to speak up though, because I've gone through things in my childhood where I'm like, you got to say no. You know this is wrong. This person isn't supposed to talk to you this way. You know what I'm saying? If it's essay or something like that, this person is not supposed to touch you this way. This person is not supposed to groom you into, oh, come and do this. It's okay. Because I need them to stand up for themselves, especially being boys. And you got to know no means no. So if you say no, it's no. If that person says no, it's no. You can't go past go. You can't collect $200. You can't come here. No. So I like to set boundaries, but then it backfires because I be getting when from what I hear, you can't back talk and back chat. But I'm thinking no one ever told me how to say no. Right. Because it was always, you have to be compliant. You got to be compliant. You got to do this. Doesn't matter if you want to or not. You have to do it. But for my children, I'm saying,
I believe that I had told my parents too. I'm like, because of course you don't want to resort to violence, but sometimes that happens between siblings, because But it's like, I think instead of taking a karate or a boxing class, you should take a debate class. I think that would probably be the most healthiest thing for an individual to learn how to communicate without it turning physical. Like, take a debate class, because everybody thought should be heard. And yeah, I just think
that's good. That's good, Ella. Yeah. That's real good.
But yeah, good. I think that this went good. What you say?
It did. And I'm just like, I know I'm supposed to go. I said it like 15 minutes ago, but I ain't moved yet.
I hope we hit on some good points and answered some.
Let me guys before you guys go. There's 11 of you here. Let me know what you think. Let us know what you thought about the live. Leave some more questions or topic ideas. And please don't forget to click like. I'm seeing 6 likes on the video, but there's still 11 people here. So please, if you could just click like on the live, that would be so great. You don't even have to leave the live stream yet to click like on it. Oh wait, Kathy's here. I said hi, Kathy.
Hello.
Tara. Yeah. One of the things that I suffered from when I was a child, without going into detail, is having somebody tell you, oh, you have to do this or do this for me. Knowing in my mind and feeling in my body, this is wrong. Like, I can't do this. But I was taught, as I was raised, you do as I say. If I say do this, you do this. And there's a line there, because of course you want your children to respect themselves, respect their parents, respect adults, people in authority, but not to the point where they're getting destroyed. Because you're not just doing everything an adult says just because an adult says. And another thing is, there are people out here in the personal finance space who are thieves, who are vultures. They will put out information on social media and it's absolutely wrong. And people are falling for it, and they're losing thousands of dollars, or they're losing opportunities. They're losing homes. They're just, because they're following wrong advice.
Adults I just commented on something like that. I was watching a podcast and they was talking about scam culture or whatnot, and subliminally trying to justify their behavior in a sense. And it's like, no, because that's what school was for. That's exactly why you was funneled through the educational system first before working. Because it's your job as a business to learn how to conduct proper research before you place something out on the market. So no, it's not the customer fault for not doing the research, because at the end of the day, you were the one that was supposed to conclude your research prior to placing this thing out on the market. So either you're throwing a beta test out here for me to invest in, or it's a fully completed product or service. So if you know that this is incomplete work, why did you place it out on the market? And that's what make it a scam. Like, you know that you haven't completed your research, and then you think you're going to convince me that, oh, I'm a new business. I'm a new business and I'm still learning. No, that's why they got business school. Go to school. And then when you graduate, then you come out here. I should never in my life have to pay for research that's not properly done, or a product or service that is not properly done either. Because all I'm doing now is funding future products for you to eventually get it right. So yeah, give me my money back. I don't like it. Give it to me. Give it back. And that's what I learned in extension as an investor. Well, even going back to what you said about learning how to say no, like, it's my money. I don't care if I spent 50 cents on it. If it ain't what I thought I was gonna get, give me my money back. And I don't like your attitude, give it back. If somebody just made a little short, I forgot where I synced it at, but a guy went into Wingstop, ordered something, and the lady got smart with him. He wanted his money back. She didn't want to give him the money back, and he tore that restaurant up. That junk was crazy, but it's just like, as an investor, you have the right to pull your investment if you're not satisfied. And just because you feel like, oh, but I invested time with you, so I at least need to be compensated for that. Like, no, I wasn't paying you for your time, sweetheart. We're not friends. This was business. And I didn't get the business concluded that I invested in, so I'm gonna need my funds back. And I decide where I want to further invest. But you're not gonna make me invest in something that I feel like is inconcluded. Like, absolutely not. Or what you think?
I think so too. Not being, snobby or anything like that. Just I want high quality. I don't
That
want
go back
garbage.
to about being comfortable with saying no. Like, I don't have to say yes to you because you're trying to build generational wealth. Give me my money back so I can reserve mine. Then I don't have to say yes to you. I don't like
So
your
many
business
scams out there, so
practices, so
please be
I don't
careful.
want nothing to do with it. Exactly.
Please be careful.
I'll pull my investment in a minute. That's what I said. Like, I've been saying no for a very, very long time. I think that's probably why I ain't got many friends.
I feel you on that. It's are we still live? Yes. Okay. Oh shoot.
I kind of want to give a
Okay,
little short story.
okay.
So I had I don't even want to call them a friend because we weren't friends. But long story short, they tried to make it seem to me as if, well, I feel like if I'm dealing with somebody and they ask me for a ride, then I'm gonna just look out for them. And I was like, well, that's you. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I feel like I'm never gonna cover the cost of somebody else's expense. So if you asking me for a ride, I'm finna invest time, and now you trying to tell me money too? Like, no, that's not happening. I'm gonna need price per hour or whatever. I feel like I want to break this down too, because it's my day off, and let you know what I mean. Like, even if it's my day off, like, not finna get out of bed to do you a favor because you think we friends. I don't want friends there.
Your time is just as valuable or even more valuable than your money, because time
And I
can't be
learned that
recycled.
in extension to driving for Uber and Lyft. Like, I'm literally getting paid soon as somebody open a door and sit down in this car, and if I start this car up and go somewhere, I'm getting paid time and distance. So then you mean to tell me when I'm not at work making money for driving people around, I'm finna just drive you around just because you think we friends on a personal level? Absolutely not. I told my sister I'm finna get a shirt that say it's nothing personal, just business. Like, I don't got time for that. I don't have time for it because a person, and that's what make the scam culture ridiculous, because they try and sell you on something that they know is not worth the investment just so they can get what they want. Like, you stop it. You're not getting my money. You better go sell that to somebody else. I told my sister too, like, I'm like, as a buyer in the market, I don't like to be hassled because I know what I'm going in there for. So of course you're doing your job and you ask me, is there anything you can help me with? No, not at the time. I'll call you if I need you. And if you keep hassling me, if I just told you that just because you want a commission, then now you're gonna turn me off as a buyer and not even interested in buying nothing no more because you getting on my nerve because you want this commission. And I don't even want to buy the thing now. Like I said I'd come find you.
Mm-hmm. I don't, that's why I don't like going into stores. I'm adverse. I'd rather shop online. You can't really buy everything online. You have to go into the store, but that's why I don't like going into stores because immediately they're trying to. I worked for Modell's when I was in college. My first year of college, the first break I had, I went to Modell's and I got a job. You have to upsell no matter what the customer is buying. So somebody could be buying a pair of hiking boots. Would you like some socks with that? You have to upsell. And that was the hardest part for me because I'm like, if they know what they want, just, you know.
Do
And
you
some
feel
people,
like that tie into the trauma that you feel about saying no? Because I feel like, because I feel so comfortable saying it, I'll be like, I said I'm good. So if you bother me again, I'm gonna have to leave. I feel like an extension to what you said with the online shopping. I can't stand online shopping because I need the experience as an investor. I need to be there in person. I don't like online shopping. And I feel like an extension, like I said, do you feel like you like online shopping better because you don't really have to have no interaction with a hassler?
I don't like to talk to people a
I
lot
feel like
because
I'm
then
just
they start
getting out
getting
of
into
that.
things that I don't want to talk about. And because, you know, I would rather just stay over here because I would either say something that would offend you or the look on my face would offend you. And I don't want to offend anybody because I'm a very nice person. I like to be
I
nice to
feel like
people. I
that
like
was
to
the
do nice
issue
things.
of
But if I'm
mine coming
annoyed,
up.
I just.
Right. I feel like that was an issue of mine coming up, but that's another reason why, you know, as you grow, you're supposed to feel more comfortable in having these interactions with people that is just like be firm and what it is that you want to say. It's not about being rude. It's about somebody intruding on your private personal space and now you gotta handle it how you handle it. It don't have to turn physical. That's why I said that about the debate earlier. Like, it's okay to be polite and say, I'm not interested. And so now if you trying to keep bothering me after that's what I said, then it's just like, I'm wondering now the look on my face, I'm wondering if you would like for it to possibly get physical. Because I said I'm not
To lose it.
and I feel like in addition to being a woman as well, I just had to tell somebody about this too, that I feel like sometimes guys read too much into females, feel like you're supposed to be nice and polite and kind and all this stuff for them to be ignorant, to sell you on their ignorance. Like, listen, I'm not interested. You can't sell me on being interested in you. If I'm not interested in you, that's it. Who do you want me to file a harassment complaint? Even though we don't work together. Like, that's just what it boiled down to. If you say how you feel about something, that should just be it. Like,
Exactly.
I feel like when a person keeps bothering you like that, then I feel like sometimes to a certain extent, like, Jesus,
Maybe it
please
wasn't
save me,
clear.
because this is the reason why I feel like I don't want children sometimes. But I would understand that I could tolerate that out of a child. But if I tell an adult no, and they keep nugging and pulling at me like, but why not? And how come? Like, cause I
Didn't you
just
hear what I
said
said?
no.
I said no. Let your
No, like,
yes be
if you
yes
say
and let your no be no. Simple. Not complicated. It's simple. I said no. Well, all right.
and
And you sit there and cry and whine if you want to, but I'm going over here because I said no, and that's that. Like I think I did that once, not in a long time, but once. I was in a store, I was shopping for clothes, and I needed to look for something. I asked the person, "Can you tell me where this is?" I think it was leggings or something. And she's like, "Oh, it's over here." And then she wanted to tell me about the sale. And then there's a promotion and there's this. And I'm like, I don't want that. I just want to get these leggings because I have to go. But she's going on, and then I got so annoyed that I was just like, I'll just leave this here because I gotta go, because I don't even want to stand in the line anymore. I said no.
You know,
That's why I feel like if I'm
the best thing that I ever learned about communicating with people that be annoying like that was sarcasm. Like, oh, it's a sale. Oh, wow. Are you going to use your employee discount and get it for me? Like, wait, like, I don't understand. Sarcasm is my best friend. My best friend.
All right. This was a great use of time because it was fun. I think a lot of people got some good tips and nuggets and things from this, and I really enjoyed talking with you. And you shared a lot.
What do y'all feel like in the comment section about us coming back on? For it depends on when you're free, though.
Yeah, might be a little while, but we should definitely do this again.
Getting off for the summer, right?
And all kinds of activities going on.
All right.
I know Kathy said she loved the live. So thank you, Kathy. She had so many amazing topics covered about money, life, and wealth. So I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And of course, we know Dee was really active. Dee and Tara really showed up. And can I say hi to the Unguided Life with Dee again? I'm so glad that you were here today. And I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. And she said, okay, I have to go tell my I have to go to tell my money what to do. I love that. Tell your money what to do before it tells you what to do. I love it. I always love that slogan. So Tara says, yes, definitely do it again. So yeah, we will do it again. And we'll email each other and we'll keep you guys. I'll make sure to schedule it so you guys will see, so you can hit the little notify me bell when we do this again. Because this was exciting. I enjoyed it. 9 a.m. is you're on the West Coast. That's right. Okay. But if you ever come back, if you're free during the day, maybe you could watch the replay. If you are still here, and I think there are 10 people here, please make sure to check out Hierarchy Finance Bureau. Again, I think she has God, what's the word I'm looking for, you guys? She is passionate and she has a very intricate system. And I think it's good to, listen to other people to see what knowledge and wisdom you can pull from it. Everybody's different, but there's some good things that she shared here. So I hope that you find some value on this channel. I hope you find value on her channel. And I definitely can't wait to do this again. Anything else you want to say before we leave, Ella?
Oh, I just loved it. It was great. It was awesome. Always a pleasure being here. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. I hope we touched on some important points in regarding this topic too, because I know we kind of veered off a little bit, but kind of tried to keep it back in alignment with the overall topic here. But yeah, everything was perfect. I enjoyed being here. Thanks everybody for showing up and tuning in and asking questions. It was very engaging.
Very much so. So until next time, y'all, continue to mind your money, manage it well, live your lives abundantly. Okay. Love y'all.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.